there is something completely fascinating going on in this little corner of the internet of the guitar world. It combines guitar tone with machine learning, AI, capitalism, democratization, group concerted efforts, and open source technology and ideas. It's absolutely unlike anything I've ever seen, and it is growing so fast. I discovered it not long ago when this group was just a few hundred people, and it's grown to thousands and thousands of people, and it does not seem to be slowing down. So what is it? Okay, you probably remember 11 years ago or so, this thing called the Kemper came out, right? And the Kemper wasn't a modeler, it was a profiler, because you could copy the sound of your amplifier, your signal chain. And then it existed for a while, up against other modelers like the Helix and the Axe-Fx, and sort of stood apart on its own. But then we saw other things come to market, Quad Cortex, and now Tonex and Headrush. There were some other things like Revolver, and Axe-Fx had the sort of EQ match thing. But the Kemper for a long time really stood alone, but lately there's been this huge drive towards machine learning and copying the sound of real amplifiers. And on this little corner of the internet, there is an open source, 100% free product. And I hesitate to even call it a product because, like I said, it's free, it's not for sale, and it's not even put out by any company. It's called NAM, Neural Amp Modeler, and it was created by this guy named Steve Steve Atkinson. He distributes it through GitHub, and he made this little Facebook group, and it was, like I said, just a few hundred people when I joined, and it is thousands now. It is one of the most active groups on Facebook, and it is absolutely fascinating to me. The themes here. The idea that one guy could make some software that stands up to the offerings of these much larger companies, Quad Cortex, IK Multimedia, Kemper, it's interesting. It's not just interesting because it's cool, it's interesting because of what it implies. Yes, this technology is hard to understand if you're not an engineer, but if someone can make it free and just throw it online, and the community can rally around and use it, well, what the heck does that mean? Okay, before I go any further, the most important question with something like this is, does it work? Does it sound good? Is it living up to the hype? And hype there is. There are a lot of evangelists online about this thing that will tell you it is better than everything else out there. Combined, plus a million, NAM is the thing to beat. There's some null tests out there that show that it gets closer to kind of the reference signal than anything else. But what do I think of it? Well, I tried it out. I pulled out my Purple Plexi and I worked on it, and this happened. So it sounds like the amp. As much as a lot of the other units do, it sounds and feels like my Purple Plexi. Still nothing like being in front of an amp blaring at you. But in terms of miking it up, putting it in the next room, this is a very accurate recreation of that amplifier, and it cost me $0. $0. Now, if you want to try NAMM, and I suggest you do, I think everyone should download this and try it. It's a free open source solution. No one's selling it to you. They're obviously not sponsoring me. There's no one to sponsor me. The link to download NAMM is the GitHub link down in the description. The link to the Facebook group I've been talking about is down there as well. And there's also a link to download all of the stuff that Tone Junkies made, because everything so far that I've made has been free. You just pop in your email and boom, you get this stuff. I'm going to be adding more Purple Plexi captures, tone amp models, and I'll be sending them to everyone via email. But I think this is a really interesting journey. Everyone can partake in this. It costs, again, $0. You can go download NAMM and install it and use it in your DAW. It's that simple, but that's actually where the simplicity sort of ends. If you want to make your own tone models, amp models, captures with this NAMM software, it's hardly simple. Actually, you're going to need to download a reference file. You're going to need to you're going to need to figure out how to send that out of your DAW into your amp, capture it, make sure all your levels are right and you have no clipping anywhere. You're going to have to figure out probably how to tap the direct output of an amp while providing it a load. You're also going to run into the differences that load boxes give you compared to a real cabinet. And then you're going to have to bring it in and you're going to need to use GitHub. Now, at this point, I'm paying for GitHub because I exhausted several times the free capacity of GitHub to actually do the machine learning and train these models. You probably won't run into that. I did like 1 million tests and I'm still kind of training a bunch of stuff that I want to release to everybody. But that's sort of the rub here, right? It's easy and not easy. It's beautiful and chaotic. It is free and also will take some time and learning, right? There's always a rub, and that is sort of the beauty of this open source solution. In terms of accuracy, I will say this. There are numerous null tests that show this is the most accurate thing out there. I have experimented with cabs and not with cabs, and I find that it seems to work the best when you're capturing an amp directly and then using IRs. However, you can capture with cabinets. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do find that there is a little bit of a tendency to add high-end presence. It's actually pretty noticeable. That's something that could be amended or fixed in the future, but all I'm doing is running just a little high cut. It seems to be adding some like 15K, 16K presence very high up there that I don't hear in the original signal. And so right here, these clips, I'm just running a little delay and verb and using a little high cut at about 12.5K on the Helix native software, and it seems to pretty much clean everything up. So I reach out to Steve, and it turns out he started NAMM, this little project, in 2018, just as a hobby, a fun thing to do, combining guitar and machine learning, two things Steve was really into. But he didn't really do anything with it, and that's why we didn't hear about it back then. But fast forward to about a year ago, Steve put this UI on it and made it something people could download and use, available through GitHub, and he started this Facebook group. And this Facebook group has gone from just 200 or 300 members to well over 6,000 in just about, I don't know, two months, maybe 3 months. It's been really crazy. I asked Steve why he made it open source, why, how all this happened. And he said, he told himself, I wasn't going to look at any other projects. I just wanted to approach this problem and work out a solution. Steve also made a comment to me. He said, there's no real secrets with NAM. I just did what I thought anyone with a knowledge of machine learning would do to solve this problem. And so here we have it, the guts of this thing, this early organism on the internet that I find really interesting. And this is why it's so disruptive, why I think this could be so revolutionary is the license that's attached to this thing lets you use it for all sorts of things. You could take it and put it in a commercial product. You can build third-party solutions around it. There's already a website called ToneHive. There's a couple other websites that let you upload your capture so the community can grab it. Sort of the community version of ToneNet or Cortex Cloud. People have added other, people are talking about skins to sort of augment the UI, make it look a little different. People are adding tuners and adding different things. Anyone with a knowledge of code may be able to change this thing. I mean, people could actually take this, make it into a commercial product bundled with other captures. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. It's really interesting that the technology that is captive over here in these other brands actually over here can kind of belong to the community, and the community can form it into whatever it's going to be. And community is the key word here. So I ran a little test. I really wanted to know how the community would respond to a commercial seller like myself becoming involved. When I first saw NAM, I thought, maybe I would like to profile, capture, make tone models of all of my lovely amplifiers in my collection and make them available. Now, obviously, I am a commercial seller. I sell these things. And so how would the community respond? No commercial sellers have really gotten involved yet. So I put up this web page on my site. The links were broken. It didn't work. But I wanted to think of it like a leak. I wondered if the community would pick it up, they would post about it, and it would spark a discussion about what I was thinking of doing, a discussion around commercial sellers, and wouldn't you know, they took the bait. I posted this, pretty much went to bed, and the next morning woke up to about 75 comments and a fervently just heated debate on captures and commercial people and money and capitalism and all sorts of stuff. Here's what some of the people had to say. He's going to make captures and charge for them on an open source platform. Of course the grifters will come in. It's inevitable. People are so greedy. It takes no effort to capture an amp. My computer does all the work. If someone wants to take the time to create these profiles and charge for them, go for it. Not a single person is forcing you to buy them. There are tons of great free ones. Use those instead. In my opinion, Steve and other contributors should receive some money from third-party profile sales. More people adopting the platform can't be a bad thing. One way I look at this, capitalism is a way to highly motivate people to sacrifice more time and effort than anyone else to make money. I look at it as a way to motivate, to innovate way beyond where they would otherwise go if they were just lazy and stopped. Of course, there are both pros and cons, as I prefer and appreciate an open source community banding together. Why not try both? So there's a lot of different opinions about selling AMP models for a free and open source platform like this. One of the things I think is really interesting is the way I notice some people approach these posts and these discussions. They almost approach it as though there's this democratic thing going on, like we're all going to decide together what the community does. But I actually think the nature of having something be open source is that no one decides. Everyone decides through their collective action. Sometimes I even saw a poll go up later where someone put up a poll, should selling be allowed? And it was kind of silly because it's like, it doesn't matter what anyone votes for on this poll. There's no way to stop it. It is now open source. And that's sort of the beauty of this thing. I even saw a very well-known name in the pedal world comment that he was looking at this and that other people in the industry were looking at this as well, which is another reason it could really, really change things. Smaller companies that maybe have a name, have an expertise, but don't know anything about AI and machine learning may be able to hire a developer to take this code, use its open source license, and develop their own products, their own official stuff around it. Maybe one day we wake up and we see there's an official 2-Rock amp modeler, and it has all the 2-Rock stuff bundled inside, and it's really just NAMM with some other features added in, bright switches and deep bass switches, and their stuff is hardwired in there, and you can just switch between 10 of their captures and 10 of their, IRs. I mean, that would be an entire plug-in that you could buy from a company like 2-Rock, like Matchless, like Bad Cat. And they could probably develop it for a fraction of the cost because this is already out there. All they would need is just I believe, a small attribution to where some of that code came from. I mean, they'd have to look at the license. I'm not an expert, but that's what it appears to me. They can actually work this in to be part of a commercial project. And there you go. It's actually quite revolutionary. Well, my name's been HW. Check out NAMM. It's free. You have no reason not to. And check out the Tone Junkie stuff we're putting out. There's going to be some awesome stuff with this. And I'm even actively exploring how I can, I'm not a programmer, but I'm actively exploring how I can put some capital behind some development and what it might look like to branch. And add some features that I would really like to see. I'm in conversations with some people about that right now, to be perfectly honest. So NAMM is a thing. I don't think it's going anywhere. I've been HW.